How you doing, guys? We're going to get this podcast, morning show, whatever you want to call it. We're going to get it started here in just a second. And as you see on the screen, we're going to be talking a little bit about WARE. I want to get everybody's opinion. What the heck is going on with WARE? How it fits into the ARG, and how it fits into No Man's Sky Next, the update. How it correlates together. We'll talk about that more a bit on the other side. So let me get some things prepared on the screen here, and we'll get started shortly.
You know about me.
Get right to the point. Remember, I know what happens next.
What does it mean? I can't see the crimson eye. Loop 16. No matter how hard I try. What does it mean? I can't see the crimson eye. Loop 16. No matter how hard I try. What does it mean? I can't see the crimson eye. Loop 16. No matter how hard I try. What does it mean? I can't see the crimson eye.
Our demise is upon us, traveler. Prophecies have foretold the destruction of our universe. I encourage all travelers, interlopers, nomads, to repent our sins and embrace each other in this trying time. Our universe is about to be reset. Our homes destroyed. All creatures on every planet will be twisted and transformed into new forms and beings. Fear the Atlas, Loop 16, and all the forces that want to tear apart our fabric of what we think is our reality. The end is coming. The end is coming. Find a safe place and brace for impact. I hope we are all the same after the Great Reset.
What is going on, travelers, interlopers, traders, and farmers? Explorers, bounty hunters, pirates, and you strange glowing entities out there. Viking, Korvax. Viking and Korvax. May the Atlas allow my voice to fall upon every strange ear, and that this space transmission reaches every galaxy and dimension. Today, we are broadcasting from the Euclid Galaxy somewhere deep in space. This is the morning show on Cobra TV. Call in today and let's make contact.
You must have known I could. You must have known what this was. Through these travels we come to know ourselves, just as the universe comes to know us in turn. I cannot step through. I know now that if I do, all of this will be over. Lives come back to me. I have seen horrors and wonders. I have been cruel. I have become good and evil. I have grown beyond all such things, life after life, and now I am becoming you. One day, your voice will speak to you, telling you of something, some signal that needs answering. It will tell you of some secret at the heart of reality, some puzzle that needs to be solved unless all life falls into decay and oblivion. Do not listen to it. If all the world is a lie, then nothing is true, not even an explanation. Abandon it. Abandon me. It is inevitable.
Technology recharge.
Hashtag sword in the chat. What a Cobra. Thank you so much, buddy. I have become obsessive. Obsessive. I've got an obsession. I have this WARE thing is eating away at my very soul. The last remaining brain cells that I have are being burned away because of WARE. All right. Being completely burned away. I would like to get LpoLi on the show. Me and LpoLi were having quite a back and forth conversation about what the heck's going on. And you guys have heard me beat this like a dead horse. WARE, in my opinion, we use these headsets to go into these games and play. And I've said it over and over and over again that somehow we get stuck inside the simulation through the headset. Right? Because we all know Loop 16, Emily, is the Atlas. We know that. And it was under my assumption that Emily, Loop 16, the Atlas, created this simulation that we all know as No Man's Sky. The universe within, that's what Emily did. But none of us really knew how that happened. Whether it just all of a sudden changed one day, our reality just completely changed, and then memories wiped, and now we're inside what we're playing, right? But we didn't know how. Now WARE is coming along, and it looks like, I've said it looks like WARE is a way that we've gotten into what Emily created. But here's the confusing part. WARE mentions No Man's Sky. So now it doesn't look like Emily created the simulation that we thought she created. Now it looks like Emily herself, the Atlas, is stuck in a video game called No Man's Sky. And so were we. Understanding the ARG and where it's going will help us better understand what the ARG is. Just like we understood the last one, it was about, the travelers. It was about Emily going, a rogue AI just taking over. The Atlas Foundation was frightened to death of her. So then we get this email, and here's why I say Emily is the Atlas. I'm sorry. We'll just call Emily Atlas, Loop 16, Tomato Tomato. So Emily Atlas is stuck inside of a video game. And so are we. Because WARE releases this email. And says one of our partnered games, No Man's Sky. So we as players buy these WARE headsets. Some of us play No Man's Sky. And we get stuck there. Because that's where the Atlas ran and hid. The game No Man's Sky, is it haunted by Emily? Is this like a sci-fi horror game? Is the game No Man's Sky being haunted by Emily? Because this changes the whole ARG. This changes the whole lore. Allison Smith wouldn't make a mistake like this. One of our partnered games, this is coming from WARE, one of our partnered games, No Man's Sky. I want to know what you guys think. Because that's what it looks like to me. And I want to get LPlays on the phone here. So if LPlays, if you could hear me, please. Oh, he's already wanted to come on. Here we go. We're going to get this party started right now. Let's get this music off. And we're going to get LPlays on here. And we're just going to go nuts. It's going to be interesting. L.
Hello.
What's going on, dude? How you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, man. You?
I'm okay. All right. I gotta get a patch of my hair replaced because I've been tugging at it. Right.
I've gone.
It all started. If WARE was not confusing enough, what got me really obsessing over it was that stupid email. That made it worse.
Yeah, completely breaking the fourth wall, right?
Yeah. So I want to kind of like compare thoughts. I want to kind of open up the discussion about, is Emily trapped inside of a video game with us?
So yes, I definitely. So I think so. Your thought was Emily is the Atlas, right, in game?
Oh, of course she is. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think I agree with that. So I don't know if do you want me to go over the theory that we were talking about earlier, that I think for everyone on the call, I'm convinced that this crazy idea that I've came up with kind of links everything together and explains the whole story of the ARG from beginning to end. And then there's stuff like Emily being the Atlas that links more directly into the in-game lore specifically, but like everything just seems to fit perfectly. So unless I've just, and it's possible that I've gone completely crazy at this point, but I feel like we've got it. We solved the story behind it, man.
Either that or we're making it worse.
We're just like so far down the wrong track and everyone's going to laugh.
Yeah.
So do you want me to like go over like briefly what the theory was that I had?
Right.
So basically, I think we all agreed that like the WARE headset somehow relates to the origin story of No Man's Sky and how people get trapped in a simulation. But then like the whole thing about WARE announcing that they're partnered and No Man's Sky is just a game and all this stuff, kind of like, how does it all fit together? So the idea I've had is that there's two timelines, right? So right now in the real world, this phase, the WARE phase of the ARG, what we're playing through is the origin story, like the rise to power of WARE and how they got to where they're going to be. And I think No Man's Sky is set in the future at the point where WARE have like taken over the world and enslaved mankind. So we're kind of playing like the pre-origin story of No Man's Sky right now, and we're actually like helping WARE, but where are the bad guys? Like WARE are going to trap us all, enslave us in these headsets, and we're like helping them do it. And then No Man's Sky takes place in the future. So the travelers, the characters in game, us playing the game, are people that were in the real world after WARE rose to power and trapped us in the simulation. And like the stuff that made all of that sound so convincing to me is like every single company that's been mentioned, every bit of tech that's been mentioned right from the beginning of the ARG, all of it fits in so perfectly. So if you go through the companies, right, so there was the Atlas Foundation led by Elizabeth. They were creating artificial intelligence and simulated worlds, right? So that's like tech that a company like WARE, if they were these like evil behind the scenes company that wanted to do this is the kind of tech that they would need to make that happen. And it's the same for every single one of these companies, right? They're all bringing some piece of tech. Go ahead.
Well, hold on for a second. That was all done by the Atlas Foundation.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, Atlas Foundation.
So
yeah.
We know this is the origin. This you know, that's we already know this is the origin. But the confusing part was, where did WARE fit into that?
So I think WARE are the ones behind the scenes. So not just for the Atlas Foundation, but for Echo, for Superlumina, Myriad, all of these other companies and all of the little bits of tech that are referenced. Each of them have been developing something that plays a part in how we got captured into the simulation. But all of it on its own wasn't enough. And I think, so a lot of these companies, there's bits in the law that mention they had a hidden investor or someone behind the scenes, and it was never elaborated on. I think WARE are the company behind the scenes that have been working with all of these companies, bankrolling them, funding them, manipulating them to create. So each of them have created this bit of tech, right? So Atlas Foundation has created the simulated world and the AI. You've got Echo. What were Echo doing? Echo were doing like the communication stuff. I'm trying to like. I've got a video coming out that's basically going to explain like how every company's tech, if you put all of that together, it fits perfectly with like creating this trap to like keep us in. So each one of them has something that it offers. I think was it Superlumina with the satellites, or Myriad? Myriad has the global satellites, so that would be a company they could use to transmit the signal across the world without it ever failing. And like all of that together, if WARE are behind the scenes controlling all of these companies, or like funding them and then stealing that tech, and then they were going to use the headset that they're now releasing to the real world, right? They're giving everyone the WARE headset and they're selling it as like a cool game thing, like a tech thing. People think it's harmless, everyone's going to buy it because it's so freaking cool, and they've actually put all of this technology in so they can make it like a super believable simulation that you never know is not real. They've got the satellites to beam it globally to everyone in the world. They're now giving out the headset, which is like the final end point, or at least like the first iteration of that. Once everyone in the world starts buying these headsets thinking they're just playing No Man's Sky, that's when they trap us in the simulation, and we're actually stuck in the game of No Man's Sky forever, like at some point in the future.
Yes, but here's the question. Here's where we start to have to break it down. Like, okay, so is the entire world stuck inside No Man's Sky, or is it people that just decided to play No Man's Sky?
So I think like this is leading to a future where everybody's trapped in there, right? So when this tech comes out, like it's so mind blowing. It's such an incredible experience that like everybody wants to try this. Like it's so groundbreaking. Everybody's gonna want to play it. They're gonna roll it out to everywhere. Like I'm guessing at some point they're probably even gonna be like pushing it for free, just trying to get everybody in the world onto this simulation, and then once enough people are in it and they've got like enough control, that's when they flick the switch and people are now trapped in there. And then you've basically got WARE that are left in the real world that control everything. And one of the other companies, I forget which one it was, but one of them was looking into like the theory of mind stuff, about the ability to harness a human brain for its incredible processing power. And I think that could be a big part of what the reason behind why WARE would want to do that. They want to trap us, basically like the Matrix, right? Like using us as a battery, using us for processing power, using us for like whatever they need, like unlimited resource, fuel, processing to like power whatever they want to do in the future.
Yeah, I want to comment on Asker, who says it does not fit the lore. It actually does fit the lore, 100%. You see, Waking Titan Season 1 left us at a cliffhanger when Emily became the Atlas. We didn't know. We knew she created the simulation, but we didn't know how. We didn't know how or when we got stuck inside No Man's Sky as a traveler. So now what I believe, and I think LPlays believes, is we saw the origin before, and we were part of that origin. We are now part of the origin of No Man's Sky. However, it left us on a cliffhanger. There was holes to fill in, and I think WARE is filling in those holes. WARE is how, like I said a quintillion times, the headset is not VR. It's how we get stuck inside No Man's Sky. They're not trying to say this is going to be VR compatible. This is just them saying how we get stuck inside No Man's Sky. But the interesting thing is how they mention No Man's Sky. That's the interesting part about it. And that's where all of this starts to, kind of fall into place. Is that Emily, the Atlas, is stuck inside this video game that WARE is partnered with called No Man's Sky, and so are we. And she's able 100%. To manipulate it.
Yeah, 100%. And I think like the big thing that we were kind of missing was the way, in my mind, how it all fits together so perfectly is the two different timelines, right? So the game No Man's Sky is set a little ways off in the future, and right now we're kind of playing through that rise to power, where WARE they've got all of these other companies, the Atlas Foundation, Myriad, Superlumina, they've stolen all of that tech. They're pushing the headsets to get everyone adopting it and putting it on, and once enough people are in, that's the point at which it flicked over and we all became trapped in the simulation. So I kind of like the ARG is kind of taking us through that rise of power of WARE almost.
Oh, it's always been.
Yeah, it just fits.
It's always
so
been
well.
like, yeah, no, this has never been a question if this is the past or not. We already know that this is the past.
Yeah.
The missing piece to me was the mention of No Man's Sky.
As a game, right? Yeah, and that makes sense. Like WARE, that's the game, that's the simulated world that WARE are going to choose to trap us in, basically, with these headsets. And the way to do that, right? Because these headsets, if you think, like, if you're reading about it and stuff, like, they're interacting like with our brain on a crazy level that is kind of like, if you really think about it, it's kind of scary and dangerous. But like, so you need a good reason to get people to actually want to do this, and that's, well, just sell it as this really awesome piece of tech that's going to give you the best gaming experience in the world, right? No one's going to be scared about that. They're all going to want to can't wait to get hold of it.
Exactly. See, I'm up until that email, I was thinking, okay, this ARG seems completely separate from the first one. Like the first one was the origin, it's the past, and then I'm sitting there thinking, like, what the hell? Where does WARE fit into it? It doesn't even seem like this is the same storyline. And then when it mentions No Man's Sky, and it confused me, and I kept thinking about it, and I'm like, oh, that makes so much sense.
Yeah. Like I was exactly the same. Like all of the phases, I guess, and all of the different companies, I kind of just took as little separate stories within the overall ARG. But then when you think about it like this, it's kind of, it all links together as one story. Like each of those companies developed something that was needed for WARE to be able to do this. WARE was always behind the scenes controlling them or stealing their tech or whatever, and they've now put it all together. The headset's going to be when people start getting trapped into it, and then the game takes place like once we're stuck after that in the future. And it just like the whole, instead of having like loads of little separate bits of an ARG that all have their own cool little story, it all suddenly becomes this one huge picture that fits together perfectly.
Yeah, exactly. Guys, if you want to come on the show today and give your opinion on WARE, I want to hear about it. I'm going insane. I'm going a little bit crazy, but I would like to hear your take on WARE. But the mention of No Man's Sky in that email is what did it for me. We got Matthew on the call. Matthew, how you doing, bud?
I'm good. So I'm not really calling in about the ARG, but
do I owe you money?
Maybe, I don't know. So I know everybody's been talking about what they want to see in the new update.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of curious what everybody, like, if anything, what they want to take out of the game.
Take out? I can't really think of anything at the moment. That's like, I don't know. Because everything that they've added to the game, you could either choose to do it or not to do it. You know, like right. I'm not big on the farming thing. So I just that's not my thing, but I don't do it. They've been very careful adding things to the game to where they've made it some sections it feels like they kind of made it really handholdy.
Yeah.
And you know, you can stay away from that. You can completely stay away from that. So I at the moment, there's a lot I would like to see changed, but not taken out.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm the same. There's a couple of things I'd change, like base building, being able to do it anywhere.
Oh yeah.
Exocraft is one of the things I would change. Like the way we have to craft the stuff for them on every single planet. I wish we could have a way, like once we've built the exocraft, we could transport it to us on planet. Because I love using the Nomad, but I never have the resources to build it because I'm too lazy to grind for them. So I basically just never end up using it unless I'm in creative mode. When I would totally love to explore like every planet on the Nomad if I could, but I just don't have the resources.
Yeah.
Right. What about you, Matthew? It sounds like there might be something on your mind that you would like to see taken out.
So I guess not really fully taken out, but definitely changed is the like 3 sentient species, the Gek, the Corvex, and the Vy'keen.
Okay.
I don't really like how they are right now. Like how it's just only 3 and they are like, I don't know, they're kind of specialized for certain things.
Okay.
Yeah. I'd kind of like to see that changed to maybe like for like on random planets sometimes they would each have like their own sentient life. And then when you go to space stations or something, like you could encounter some of those creatures, well not really creatures, but life forms from planets that like way out in the galaxy.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I don't even see why they couldn't do that, really.
Right.
I mean, it doesn't seem like it would be that difficult. I mean, they do it with some of the animals and wildlife, you know, the fauna and stuff like that, you know, which I would like. One of the things I would like to see change is a lot more variation with that.
Yeah, definitely.
But that's definitely one of my big changes. We got Dave on the call. Dave, what's going on, buddy?
How you doing, Cobra?
I'm doing good, man. Doing great. Are you calling in to talk a little bit about WARE?
Yeah, a little bit about WARE and a little bit about the game, really.
Okay.
My question really is about how far do you think Sean Murray and Hello Games' foresight really goes? I mean, they're bringing Xboxing now onto the scene, and obviously we know the Sony PlayStation launch wasn't the greatest, but I mean, how far do you think he really thinks forward? I mean, he's an intelligent guy, a really intelligent guy, and I'm wondering if they're in a process at the moment. We know VR really isn't possible on the PS4, but what if he's thinking further ahead than that? And what if it's staring us directly in the face on you've got it on the screen now, VR, it's staring us right in the face. Are they being that obvious and planning for next gen? Are they thinking, well, if we get Xbox on board, maybe, I don't even know if this is possible technologically, I'm even thinking maybe cross-platform VR. Are they thinking that big? I mean, I can see this being a game that they're working on for years. It's not the sort of game that they're going to start and then drop after a couple of years. They're going to keep on going. But I can see them 5 years' time. I can still see Hello Games developing this game. And if they are thinking that far ahead, I think it is a possibility. Whether it's a strong possibility, I don't know. But yeah, that's my theory on the whole WARE thing, really.
I agree that VR could come. I do know that when developers make a game that's not VR compatible, the best that they can normally do, not always, but normally do, is create a mode that is VR compatible. Like, for instance, let's look at the game that's getting ready to come out called Agony. Agony was created, and then all of a sudden, almost towards the end of development, they wanted to do VR, and it's going to come out with VR, but only certain aspects of the game will be VR. And they said that they couldn't make the entire game VR. And Sean Murray even said it, it was an IGN interview where he said, the way he sees VR is maybe there will be a time where you put it on and then you would take it off, but not use it for long lengths at a time. But he has said that they had it working in a very rudimentary way and that it was cool and that he liked the idea, but he wanted to see where the future of VR was going.
Yeah, exactly. I totally agree with you. I mean, the Agony game, by the way, I think is looking really good. I hope they don't censor it on the PS4 like they're talking about doing, but it does actually look a really interesting game. It does
They're
look a really
going
cool
to.
game.
Yeah, I mean, there's some of the early footage, man. Oh my God!
Yeah,
there's
it's
no
a bit
way
brutal.
that's
It's a bit of a brutal game.
yeah, it's no way that's going to end up on PS4. But I know it's not, because they said the PC version will have like a way to unlock the uncensored stuff. So.
But yeah, my point going back to the VR thing, I mean, at the moment, we know really that VR wouldn't work on the PS4 because it's got to be, I think, is it a locked 60 frames per second twice? You know, once for each eyepiece. I think that's right. I don't think the PS4 can handle that at the moment, although Rayrod said that when he was doing some of his optimizations, actually on the stream that you broadcast a couple of days ago, you know, when he went through all the list of all the stuff, he was talking that he was running 100 frames per second with all his optimizations running. So VR is possible on the PS4. I'm just wondering if Sean Murray's thinking further ahead, and you know, and we're going to get the whole hog. I really hope so. I really do.
It could be, but I mean, it's a perfect game for it.
Oh, absolutely. It totally is. It is, you know, even if you're not a VR player, but having cross-platform, I think, would make it brilliant. And also, the other thing that I'd really want in next is, I'm in Galaxy 12 at the moment, and I thought I'd stay there because I had a feeling that somehow in this update that the big rings on the planets, you know, on the glass planets and the exotic biomes, you know the ones I mean, the big rings that just give you a bit of lore. I think they're going to be used, I think, for ships. Oh, yeah. To travel backwards galaxy travel. That's what I'm hoping for. So I'm in Galaxy 12 now. I want to come back to Galaxy 1. I want to come back to Euclid. You know, I know I can create another, you know, save and do it again, but I don't really want to do all that. You know, I've spent a lot of time getting to where I am now, and I want to bring all the gear that I've got back to Galaxy 1, you know? So that'd be ideal for me if we could get that in the game.
And you know what's interesting about those circular structures is that there's no collider on the center of them.
No, you can fly straight through them, can't you?
Yeah, it's like the only thing that you could actually fly your ship through.
Yeah, that, and someone mentioned the other day as well, there's the circular parts on the front of freighters you can actually go through as well. Even if they're crashed on the planet, you can still fly through those as well. Quite strange. Yeah. But yeah, the collision detection doesn't let you fly under, you know, like when you've got the floating islands and stuff like that, you can't go underneath them, can you, or anything like that, which is a bit strange.
Right.
But yeah, anyway, but that's all I wanted to say, really, Cobra. I don't want to hold you up too much, but yeah, thanks for having me on. It's a great show as always, and you are the linchpin. You're the guy that's holding everything together. I hope you do realise that.
So are you guys, you know? I mean, it's all of us, dude. We're a constellation, buddy.
Yeah, absolutely right.
All right, bud.
Okay, well, thanks for having me on anyway.
Hey, man, that's cool, and you could hang out on the show if you like.
Yeah, I will do. I'll hang on in the call and just keep on listening, and if I've got anything, I'll chime in if that's okay.
Okay, yeah, sure. Yeah, as far as VR, I really think that Sean Murray is definitely going to go that route. I don't know if it's going to be with Next. The way, if you look into this WARE thing, it's really playing along with the lore. And I think it's a dangerous thing. If it's not VR, it's dangerous, the line that they're trying to cross with the logo there. Because that's, you know, he knows the No Man's Sky crowd. He knows the No Man's Sky crowd is a speculative bunch. And that we're going to look at that and we're going to say, okay, well, that's V and that's the word R, VR. So I'm really sticking to my guns that this is only about lore. What do you think, LpoLi?
So I think I've mentioned my theory before. I agree that lore-wise it all fits perfectly and it could be a thing on its own, but I think they could easily have done the exact same thing with the lore without giving it a logo that literally spelled out VR and without making it as much of a coincident link to VR tech. They could have done it with like the Matrix thing where you plug it into the back of your neck or something like that, or a drug, or they could have just called it the company something else other than V/R. So I don't think VR is going to be part of Next. I think I did mention that before. So I think Next is going to be something separate. I think if VR comes, it will be a different thing, and I do think it would be that cut down ambient mode only, at least to begin with.
Right.
But I do think, because of the parallels between the WARE stuff and like there's no way people are going to look at that and not instantly think, oh, it looks like VR. And I don't feel like they've done that by accident. I think they're not silly enough to not realize that people would make that jump. So I feel like they know that people are going to make that jump, and they're not too worried because they know at some point a VR mode at least is going to be coming. So they're fine for people to make that leap. I hope anyway. I hope. But you're right, in terms of lore, like it without VR, it does all still stand up, and it could be nothing to do with VR. I just think it would be a shame if they hadn't thought about that risk if they weren't ever going to do VR.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree with you. The other thing I will say is Hello Games don't do anything by accident. Nothing. Everything they do is intentional. Every bit of information they put on the screen for our consumption is done on purpose.
Yeah. It's the same. It's the same with Alison Smith with this with the ARG itself. So I was kind of one of the people like you, Cobra, that kind of thought each bit was a separate little story that they kind of put together. And then when I first saw the reference to No Man's Sky, I was kind of like, maybe that's breaking the fourth wall a bit, just because they wanted to do the fun competition and stuff. But then like now thinking about this theory and stuff, all of that still fits as one ARG story. All of it links together. They can break the fourth wall while still being part of the origin story of No Man's Sky. And like I don't know, I feel like this Alison Smith do this, like that's what they do. They make these incredible ARGs. They think about this stuff. Yeah. I don't feel like they'd be sloppy and just accidentally I don't believe that the only reason they mentioned No Man's Sky the game was so that they could do the voting on Reddit, for example. I don't buy that. I don't buy that.
This is 100% written by Hello Games. You know, and I mean, Alison Smith, they're carrying it out, they're publishing it, and they're running it. But they're probably making some of the puzzles. But the way the lore is written and the way it's the direction that it's going is all directed by Hello Games. So
their story, right?
Right.
But again, like so I think a couple of people were saying, oh no, the only reason they broke the fourth wall was because they needed a place to do the voting, and they decided that would be the No Man's Sky Reddit. I mean, come on, like the stuff that Alex Smith can put together, they could easily have put together some crazy sci-fi lore website where we go on and do the voting, and it didn't have to be on the No Man's Sky Reddit. Like that was an accident, man. There's no way.
And yeah. And them breaking the fourth wall, if that's the excuse, completely ruins the ARG.
Yeah, there's just no way. There's no way. It's definitely purposely part of the story that No Man's Sky as a game is being mentioned.
Yes, it's part of the story. It definitely is. And it makes sense when you compare it to the last Waking Titan and this Waking Titan. It all fits together. We don't know. It left us on a cliffhanger. We don't know how Emily created the simulation. We don't know how we got into the simulation, and we don't know how she got to be all powerful. So this is it. She's inside of a game called No Man's Sky. WARE's a partner of a game called No Man's Sky. We put this headset on. We get trapped inside the game No Man's Sky. Emily's in there. She's trapped. I think
the cool thing with Emily is like she's the only being in the game, right? Initially, that knows that she's in the simulation. So like when we start off as the traveler, as the character, we don't know that we're in a simulation. Like we kind of find that out as we go through. But Emily's like, I feel like her being trapped in there was kind of an accident. Like she was this AI that they created or whatever, or like morphed into the simulation. And I think initially they probably wanted to control her, but they've not been able to, right?
Right. Yep. I lost my train of thought. So yeah. So I'm not sure. I can't even remember what I was going to say. We got a little bit of drama in the chat. I started reading some of that and just forgot what I was going to say. No, but addressing the chat, the ARG is fun. It's fun. You know, we already know what the release date window is. It's going to be this summer, and so we're going to have to wait anyway. So we can play the game and also have fun with this ARG. And I think it's super fun. Really super fun.
I think the mistake people always make, or it seems like they make when they comment on that stuff, is like, if you don't enjoy the ARG, like you don't have to do it. It's not, you can play the game without it. And the thing that people forget is it's not holding up the update. It's not stopping it. They've done it so that it's something fun that we can do if we want to, while we wait for the update. The update is going to be out as soon as they can get it out and as soon as it's ready, no matter what. The ARGs is just something extra, and that's why they're not managing it fully themselves and taking time away from the update. That's why they've got Alison Smith in running it for them.
Exactly.
They're inputting into it, but it's not like they're spending all day doing this instead of the update. That's not the case.
Right. You know that message I played that was on my cassette tape at the beginning of the show was the Atlas pretty much warning us not to it was warning us that it was all fake and to not listen to the puzzle and not to basically turn away. Just go. Nothing's real.
Yeah, I love how like if this WARE story is right and they're the evil masterminds behind it all and that's how we get trapped, I love how like all of us have played a part in this. Like we've all helped it, like especially with like Mr. Zeng. We apprehended him because he was like a whistleblower or he had company secrets. I'm thinking like that secret was he found out what they're planning to do and he was trying to tell the world. He's basically a hero and we stopped him. Like we did the live drops, we found his location, we let this evil company WARE catch him and apprehend him, and like in the future we're going to realize, man, that's if we hadn't done that, we could have saved everyone from getting trapped in the simulation. But they knew that we just couldn't resist taking part in the ARG and like solving the puzzles and doing it all. Like they knew we'd do it, and I think that's like a really clever thing. Like at the end of it, we're gonna look back and be like, "Oh no, what have we done?"
Yeah, exactly. So the theory is Emily is trapped inside of No Man's Sky. Where's a gateway into No Man's Sky, and the tape that I got said, was warning us to stay away, warning us that it was all fake. And if you type in Loop 16 on the Waking Titan console right now, it's asking for help. So maybe Emily gets trapped in there first. She wants to get out. We get the WARE headset. We accidentally get stuck in there with her. Yeah,
absolutely. And that's like she's obviously asking for help because she knows she's stuck. Like from the beginning, she was always trying to get out. She didn't want to be trapped there. And
right.
Yeah,
so,
like, it's just.
So then you got to ask the question. The Atlas Foundation, what did they do when we allowed her to live? When she said, "Should I live?" and we all voted yes, right? We all voted yes. Did the Atlas Foundations, because they knew they messed up when they created her, they knew that. So what did they do? What do we do with it? I don't know. Put it in that video game called No Man's Sky and let it haunt those players for a little bit.
Yeah, just keep her trapped in there, right? Exactly. Yeah, because they definitely were like, if you think in terms of the law, like if they realized they made a mistake and she became self-aware and she knew what was going on or whatever, they obviously that's, I guess to them that's kind of like a bit of code that they want to erase. But then we all like decided to save her, so they've had to kind of let her go on being like the only aware person within the simulation, which is a bit of a risk, I guess, for them. But yeah, like it's just. Like I don't know, there's no way that like everything, unless it'd be crazy if all of this fits together so well and it's coincidence. Like I really feel like we must have solved like the story at least.
I think so. I think that's what they're trying to say, because before, like I said, this did not seem like the same ARG, and with that mention of No Man's Sky and then the speculation on the, what's going on, it kind of fits together.
Yeah, 100%. And it's like
it does all fit together, don't it?
Going through like each of those companies is so perfect. Like if you go back through the ARG with a new view of now, imagine behind the scenes of all of these things, there was WARE in the background funding it, staying quiet, waiting for their moment to get all of this tech together. You've got all of these companies with like the best minds, best scientists, best like tech people in the world creating this stuff that they needed, and then like each bit just fits together perfectly. If you were going to build this simulation that was able to trap everyone and would have the global infrastructure to run it and would be super realistic and be able to keep people alive in there and stuff, like each of these companies brings something to the table that when you put it all together just gives you everything you would need to do that, and it just fits so well.
Right, it does. We got Stubborn Ninja on the call. What's going on, buddy?
Oh, hey Cobra. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Doing good. It's a pleasure to have you on the show.
Yeah, thank you. I actually came to share my theory. It's kind of similar to Elf. It's so pretty much when we play No Man's Sky, we aren't playing the same No Man's Sky. I'm thinking of like there's two separate No Man's Skies. So pretty much, and when we play the No Man's Sky we have today, that's kind of like it was created in the past, like the one WARE is talking about now. There will be a No Man's Sky in the future that's not called No Man's Sky, but it's pretty much the same game. So pretty much two separate games. I don't know if that would fit into a theory or not. But The one where
How
it's talking
about,
about is not the same No Man's Sky.
How about No Man's Sky Next?
Yeah, I mean, that works. However you want to put it. But I'm just thinking this isn't the same. When they mentioned No Man's Sky, I instantly thought that this was a separate game. The simulation was not a game in general, though. So I don't know how that fits or anything, but that was just my thought.
Even though it sounds like I think I know what I'm talking about, I'm still confused.
I think we all are here.
I don't know. What do you think about that, Al?
Yeah, I think I think to say that we're not confused would just be silly, but but I feel like it's all finally like at least in my mind, and we could be totally wrong, obviously, but in my mind, like this is the first time that I've looked at everything that's happened so far, and with the story that I'm thinking fits, every little piece of it comes together as one full story, like beginning to end, and it all fits perfectly in one big sequence. Whereas before, it's always been like we've had this crazy stuff going on here, which I kind of get what this bit of lore was talking about, and I kind of get what this thing was. And then some of the stuff like Super Lumina, I thought, oh, it was just a cool thing that they used to tease maybe some features and the date and stuff. But now it all actually fits together as part of one fictional story, as like one piece. So I don't know. I definitely still confused about a lot of stuff, and I want to see like where they go with the voting and the submissions and how all of that plays into this. But like for the first time, for me anyway, I feel like it's kind of starting to piece together as
right.
I think I get the overall picture.
So we already knew that the Atlas Foundation was using echoes. We already knew that the Atlas Foundation was using Super Lumina and the Myriad to create this AI research. So we already knew that that was happening in the past, and they created Emily, Loop 16, and then she became the Atlas. My biggest question was, it seemed like they dropped that entire lore story and started something completely new with WARE. Like, out of the blue, it wasn't connecting. There was no connections. You couldn't connect any dots anywhere until this email. And that's what did it for me. And I don't think I'm explaining myself properly. And I think maybe L's the only person, L, and maybe one other person, a couple people on the call here, I don't know, that agree with me. I don't know. Maybe just people are just going to put comments that we're all nuts. Go home.
Oh, I cannot wait. So I've got a video rendering now, Cobra, like basically going over this theory of mine, like from beginning to end, and I go into detail on like each bit of tech, each phase of the ARG that was mentioned and how it all ties in. And I cannot wait to see like the comments on that. Because I keep thinking like, I'm so sure this is it. But then part of me is thinking like there's going to be something really obvious that I've missed that just completely blows this out of the water or something. And I'm going to drop this video and people are going to be like, you dummy.
I don't know, man. I don't know. But then when you figure out the theory, the puzzle to what they're trying to say in the Waking Titan, the ARG, that'll give you an idea of what this update's about, you know? And so let's think about that for a second. So if No Man's Sky was just a video game and that Emily took over and essentially made it into a simulation, and we're stuck in there through the with her through the headsets, what could that be telling us about the update?
Man, like well, I guess there's like maybe multiplayer, like we're all trapped in that same world and able to finally interact in some way once we realize it, possibly. Or like, but the only other thing, like in terms of how that would fit to a direct in-game thing rather than just being the origin story, I keep coming back to like some sort of VR, but I don't know, that doesn't quite seem to fit this specific bit of lore, so I don't know. That's definitely something. Like if this whole WARE headset thing is hinting at a particular feature and it's not VR, maybe multiplayer. Right. I don't know what else it could be, right? I don't know. Yeah, they're definitely still confused about some things.
Right. We got Frag Ninja on the call. What's going on, buddy?
Oh, not much. Hopefully I'm not overmodulating. I just got my mixer working, so.
Oh no, man! Sounds great. Sounds great.
Oh, good.
So what is, your 2 cents in all this?
Believe it or not, I don't follow the ARG that much. Not since the last one that came out. And believe it or not, I think your theories are actually quite sound. If things weren't adding up, that's the way I would do it. I'd shift everything and then change the story. So I completely agree with you. I think it makes sense.
Right.
From a programmer's point of view, it's, neither here nor there for me anyway. But
right.
Because I look at it and I'm like, oh, look, all the pretty things.
Yeah. But the big thing is, once you try and figure out where the ARG is going, then it's like, okay, so what does that tell us about the update? Is this like a more of the story, or is this a feature that they're trying to hint at? We got Sword on the call. What's going on, Sword?
Hang on, give me 1 second, Cobra.
Okay, buddy. Time's up.
I guess the multiplayer kind of fits that, actually. Like, the more I'm just sitting here kind of like thinking, pulling my hair out frantically, and I'm thinking like, so in the game we've got the orbs and stuff now, right? Maybe that's players starting to become aware that they're in a simulation and there are others in that simulated world, and it's kind of breaking through a little bit but not properly. And then when we get like full multiplayer, the catalyst for that is like the point at where something happens where we actually realize that we're in a simulation with all these other people, right? And for the first time, we're then able to see them, almost like kind of like waking up from the Matrix type thing, or like being able to see the code, or whether like you can finally, because we realize it kind of breaks the simulation a little bit and allows us to spill over and see the other people there. So maybe that could explain, like, because when they bring multiplayer in properly, I'm guessing there's going to have to be some in-game lore to explain how it just popped out of nowhere. So maybe that could work.
Does Emily thought that they did this from the start?
What's that?
Has anybody ever thought that maybe they set everything up the way everything is coming out and the way everything's released? Maybe they set that up from the start because it follows the lore. Like when you first got the game, everything wasn't all there, and then we get the second update, and then that's more things, and then the third update that adds even more. It almost as if that the actual updates were like the game was designed to be that way from day one. It's an awful lot to put in all this work, after the fact. You know what I mean?
Hey,
right. Yeah.
I wanted to call in this morning. I know I've been catching bits and pieces of the show because I'm at work, but I know you mentioned, you was trying to figure out why they would put in that No Man's Sky was a partner company in the WARE ARG. But if you remember, they had to break immersion on the last ARG to squash a few speculation. And this may be Hello Games' way of subtly, without breaking immersion, trying to squash some of the VR talk.
Well, if they were trying to squash it, that's they're not doing a good job because they're saying it's partnered.
Right. Well,
they just made it worse.
When they did stuff like that before, it was for like the Atlas passes? People thought they were beta codes.
Yeah.
But they kind of always did that like offline almost. Like, wasn't it like in the Discord or a particular member would say something to someone and say, oh, by the way, just this is, they didn't like fully go all out and incorporate it into the actual ARG lore. It was kind of like a side thing, just a subtle message. Like one person would say, guys, by the way, no, it's not a beta code. Carry on the ARG.
Yeah. I mean, if they were trying to send any type of message at all on the VR front, and them including No Man's Sky, like one of our partner games, No Man's Sky, has agreed to help, that whole sentence would actually help the VR theory. So I don't know, man. I really don't think that at first I thought, okay, these guys are breaking character. They broke the fourth wall. I don't think they did, though. I don't think they did. I think No Man's Sky is a game. It was a game before it was a simulation.
Yeah, 100%. And that was how they pushed out the headset, right? They told everyone it was a game.
Yeah.
In life. So
then Emily gets in there, and she's like, this is my house.
So I had an idea. What if Emily just connects us all, makes it pretty much a simultaneous simulation rather than just a game? Maybe if that's what's the case, and that's what causes multiplayer to happen.
Oh, that makes sense, because if you look at it from an observer point of view, like observation theory, which requires an observer to exist in order for everything else to exist, that totally makes sense from a physics standpoint.
And I guess like Emily's been in there so long and she's aware of what's going on that maybe she's like integrated with the simulation to some extent. So if she's able to like take down some blocker to let us all see each other in that simulation, like that kind of fits like with her trying to break down the boundaries of the simulation and try and get out, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I bet you if we go back, I made a couple lore videos, the Nada and Polo one and the Alice one. I bet you if we go back, there's something, if I remember right, there was things that Nada was saying that was a little bit offsetting about the loop. Can anybody remember off the top of your head what that was? Even I made the video, but I just can't remember it.
I could probably pull up the video and play it if you know which one it is.
Oh no, that's fine. That's fine. That's fine. I'm going to make a video later tonight, and I'm going to dig all the way back, even to my cassette tapes, the cassette tape all the way back into the previous Waking Titan, the PDF files, everything, and see what I can muster up.
What we need is a No Man's Sky librarian to keep all this stuff archived for us so we could just refer back to it.
Well, see, that makes sense.
Yeah.
See, Cobra is actually the Korvax convergence. That's what happened. That's the lore I'm putting in there.
What?
Cobra, have you got
you were actually
the email
the
that mentions No Man's Sky as a partner? There's a couple of people in the chat just saying they're not on the partner list, but I think they've just missed the email where say we are working with our partner No Man's Sky.
Wait, who's saying what? I'm sorry.
So I think Asher in the chat was a bit confused. I think they're saying Hello Games is not one of the partnered companies mentioned. But I'm guessing that person's just missed the email where said
yeah. I see. Yeah.
So there was an email that specifically mentioned No Man's Sky as a game being partnered with WARE.
You talk about Emily in the first ARG becoming the Atlas because Emily was aware that she was in the simulation. If you look back on the Artemis missions through the gameplay, until our characters told Artemis that she was in a simulation, she was unaware of it. And that may be what this next update's going to be, especially like multiplayer.
Right.
To where we bring all players on that server together is Emily's way through the WARE, hacking into the WARE, into letting us all know that we are part of a simulation, and once we become aware, we can start interacting. It kind of like the Matrix with Neo. Once he became aware he was part of the Matrix, he could interact and change things in the Matrix.
Right. Yeah, I'm reading the the VR thing is what makes all this all so controversial. I was reading a message here from Plo saying exactly, Cobra, they haven't denied it. If it wasn't VR, Hello Games would have been quick to squash that rumor due to the launch backlash.
I don't know. They're pretty good at staying quiet.
I saw a comment earlier, a little while earlier in the stream. It said there might be a chance of standalone VR. It's not. If it is standalone, it won't be coming anytime soon because we would have already heard about it since we're hearing so much about release dates for stuff like the Xbox One edition. So I don't think there will be a standalone copy if they do VR.
I'm convinced that if they do a VR, it will, at least to start with, it would be just that ambient mode type thing.
I agree.
Because loads of people don't want VR as well. That's the other thing, right? Loads of people can't play VR because it hurts their eyes and makes them feel sick or whatever. Loads of people don't have a VR headset. Some platforms that it's going to be on don't have VR. So I think it would have to be a mode, like kind of like photo mode type thing, but obviously VR, where you could go into it. The way I would imagine it would work is when you're on a planet, say you find a planet that's really beautiful that you just like the look of, you could pop into VR mode. Like, not all the features are there, but you can just kind of look around and walk around and explore in VR for a little bit just to enjoy that, and then just switch back to playing normally.
You know what's strange?
Oh, sorry.
You know, let me pull out this piece of hair real quick. Say something. and then I'll let you guys have the floor. What's really strange is, you know, we're sitting here theorizing about all this, and then there's this idea that they got Hello Labs, which they said they had one game in development under Hello Labs where they were funding it, and Sam Swain wants funding for parents, and he's working for a company that wants to help fund procedural games, and he has one that he needs funding for. They're funding it. Okay, so that's the game that's in Hello Labs. I think we can quit speculating that. He wants funding. They want to fund. It's procedural. Hello Games said it's got to be procedural. And he's working there now.
Yeah, what he's doing is exactly what they set up Hello Labs to do, is help people that are going to further procedural gen in games, and that's what his whole engine is all about.
Right. Now, he's also an employed there. You know, he's actually part of the team, not just only under Hello Labs. He's an actual developer that is working full-time at Hello Games. Now, he's creating this engine because he wants to put this engine, well, it's not really an engine. You could use it with other engines. Earlier, he said that was not going to be possible. But now he said, ever since he started at Hello Games, he said, hey, this is possible. You can use it in Unity, Unreal, your own game engine. So,
actually, I can elaborate on that. If you're building a library or like a portable library and you write it in multiple languages, and since you're only using basically some mathematical algorithms, it's not all that hard to build several libraries for several different platforms and integrate it into your own code. So if he's building a library for procedural generated content, well, that's amazing. That'd be the first one to download that.
Right. So here's the thing. Okay, he's making this for developers to use for an existing game or a new game, either or. And what's interesting is, well, one of the things I was confused of in the very beginning is how WARE was making itself look like it was socially real by slapping the logo on other real game developers' websites. So my question is, WARE really Sam Swain's appearance, and these other game developers are going to be able to use that because he's allowing them to use it because he's gotten funding through Hello Games, and this project of his ever since Lion's Head is now a thing. It's done. It's real.
See, it would make sense. It would make sense. Oh, go ahead, Cobra.
I'm sorry. I'm almost done. And now that it's done, he's able to give it into the hands of developers through the help that Hello Games gave him. And Hello Games would also be using that technology. So, of course, WARE would be a partnered game of No Man's Sky. Or No Man's Sky is a partner of WARE. I mean, could we be talking about appearance here somehow?
It's possible. Like I said, a library like that. I mean, if he was to open source a library that can do what No Man's Sky does, that would be amazing. I mean, everybody'd be using it. If it means that it saves me thousands upon thousands of hours to make content, and I can just generate it using mathematics. I mean, shit. That's amazing. That's amazing. That saves me weeks, months,
right,
to do a job. So I hope that's the case. I hope you're 100% right on that. I'm going to be heading over there right away to download it.
Everything adds up except for the fact that they tagged Elon and people like that on Twitter. That's the only thing that doesn't make sense to me, because it being on game websites and everything like that, that makes complete sense. The only question I have is, what is it to have to do with tagging Elon and Elon Musk on Twitter and stuff like that?
I can answer that. Elon Musk started out as a computer programmer, and the first thing he ever wrote was a game, which he released in a magazine in 1998, I believe, or 89. 89, I think. So he started off as a video game programmer. So I would tag him in something like that because he'd probably find that shit interesting.
He's also spoken to Sean before, and he believes that we're in a simulation and stuff. So from like a lore perspective, if they were going to go the route of like in-game lore where you'll get trapped in a simulation, it's just like a cool thing to throw at him to like enrich the lore and kind of adds up a little bit. So I think, I don't think he's directly involved in anything, but I kind of get why they would, hint it to him as well.
I just got the craziest theory. So what if Elon, since you said that, Frag, what if Elon, and I know he does a lot of AI stuff, what if Elon's taking a parents right now, and he's taking his AI stuff and he's going to create a simulation of his own? Not for us to go in, but for him to run with the AI stuff he's working on in a parents and create pretty much just a universe he can watch.
That's completely possible. He's got the money, but I don't know how long. I don't know how long it's been since he wrote code. But
I honestly don't think Elon's directly involved in anything. That would
probably
be my
not.
guess. Yeah,
I wouldn't say so either, but I mean,
he could commission something like that, but I mean, why? Yeah, he's crazy enough to do something like that.
He made a flamethrower. Of course he is.
And WARE also asked us to make games, right? And that's what this whole contest thing is for. And parents is used to make games.
Does any game on WARE, because I haven't been keeping up really closely with the WARE stuff. Does any game match up with that?
No, I don't think it does. So I think the WARE laws, I think, is too distant from what a parents does, because I think WARE was all about, in terms of tech, what we've been asked to use for WARE in our submissions is definitely sci-fi. It's harnessing like the power of the brain to create like dreams and influence a game with your mind and stuff. It's not like a VR or a proc gen thing. It's totally separate to that, I think.
Well, all the games that we had to submit had to be proc gen.
Yeah, they did. They did have to be proc gen, but the WARE element was kind of separate, right? So I think like the ones that got chosen talked about. So the proc gen was like already there, and then they had to also say how they would use WARE and what that would do. And a lot of the stuff for the WARE part was like a way of using your feeling to shape how the game progresses and stuff, which I don't think is that's not a real tech that's going to happen anytime soon.
No, but quite a few of those games were talking about procedural buildings and stuff like that, and just creating content like the God one. What was the name of it? The Drowned Tower talked about procedural cities, procedural ruined cities, and then Eden. Eden was the one. I don't know. I got a strong feeling that yes, this is all part of the lore, like me and LpoLi started off talking about at the beginning of the show. But as far as game features, it just fits too much together with Sam Swain being there. He needed funding for his game, and Hello Labs is funding games that are procedural. His game's procedural, or his engine, his tech is procedural. He wants to make a game out of it. I don't know. It has the parents written all over it if you stop thinking about the lore.
So I totally agree that Hello Labs is funding a parents. Definitely think that's, I mean, it's possible that they've just allowed him to work and contract there and also said, yeah, carry on doing that in your spare time. But what they want is exactly what he's doing. So I totally buy that they're funding a parents on the side for him as well. And that's something he's doing with Hello Labs. And I also totally buy that, like, the stuff he's doing with the parents and like what he does with the proc generation and cities and dungeons and that kind of stuff. It'd be crazy to think he's not bringing some of that to what he's working on for No Man's Sky as well. So I definitely think there's some overlap. I'm not convinced that WARE is a direct reference to a parents, but I definitely think that at least some of what he's doing is going to be part of what he's working on at No Man's Sky, as well as them also funding his tech for other people to use as part of Hello Labs. I definitely think that's feasible.
You don't think that it's a dual reference? You don't think that the dreams and going into the simulation through the headset is a way to tie in the lore, but it's also a dual reference stating that there's this a parent's technology is going to be added to the game itself?
No, I'd be more inclined to say the games they've chosen that have references to stuff like towns, cities, a reference or a hint at what's coming in next, rather than WARE itself. Because I just think the the concept behind the WARE tech and what it does is very, very different from ProcGen and what ProcGen does. The two can work together, obviously, but I think WARE's very much a totally different piece of tech to what procedural generation is.
Hey, Cobra.
Maybe. I mean, that would just be my, like, that's how I would read it, looking at it.
Yeah, buddy.
You know, you talk about Sam Swain and his appearance game or app that he was building and coming into Hello Games and partnering or going to work for Hello Games. You know, we've been speculating so much on that as it being big scale, as looking at procedural cities and new content for the game. But also, if you're generating procedural cities, you'd have to figure out an optimization of that procedural generation to make it smooth and crisp. And, you know, instead of going, you know, big scale on the speculation on Sam Swain, what about thinking that maybe Hello Games brought in Sam Swain just to optimize the load screen for our player bases? Because, you know, every time on the PS4, when you come into a really extensive base that's close to the max complexity, you start dropping frames.
Yeah.
What if he's there because he's figured out a way to optimize that procedural generation, that when we come in, that it'll open up the floor for us to have more complexity in our bases and a smoother, crisper transition from the procedural generated world into our base circular area.
I sure hope so, because not many other games have that problem.
I mean, you look at some of these guys, some of these players that, I mean, you know, take Boyd, for example. This guy is a mastermind at builds. I mean, he takes parts you would have never thought would make a shape and build some of these most creative bases. I mean, you take people like that and just give them more tools. You know, just, you know, imagine the things they can build. You know, with more tools. You know, they're building crazy stuff now that is, you know, with limited tools and limited complexity.
Right.
So someone also just said Hello Labs is to make other things. They wouldn't be getting people into Hello Games as part of that. But I guess we've kind of touched on this. We think they got it. So Sam was looking for money and a job anyway. He's gone to Hello Games, and I think on the side of that, they're also probably at the minimum, we know they're letting him also continue to work on Apparence, but more likely they're probably funding to some extent Apparence as a separate thing as part of Hello Labs. But that doesn't mean they're not going to be using what he's doing in the game as well. Like, it makes sense, right? If he's working on this cool stuff for them as part of Hello Labs and they're helping to fund it, why not have their game be one of the first ones to trial using it?
Exactly. Yeah.
Hey, Cobra, as well, I've got something else I'd like to mention. They've got access to both sides of the source code as well, the source code from Apparence and the source code from No Man's Sky. Sean built the engine himself virtually, didn't he? So, you know, they've got an advantage over most other developers, really, because they can access it in a more intimate way, really, and knit it together. I can see Apparence being brought right into No Man's Sky as part of the procedural generation. It's because it's top-down procedural generation. It's got to come in, because everything underneath where you drop it in is going to be affected by the outcomes of the first algorithm layer, if you see what I mean. So it's got to be carefully knitted together, because, right, you know, the butterfly effect is going to affect everything further down the chain, if you see what I mean. So I can see them really using Apparence at a fundamental level in game, because they've got such an opportunity, because they have got access to both sides of the source code.
Yeah, I agree with you. I tell you what, if Apparence is not using this update, I'm so sure it's going to be. And even in a fraction of a way. But I'm so sure
absolutely
that it's going to be, that if it's not, I'll twerk. I'll twerk on camera if I'm wrong.
Somebody record this in case he ever tries to do that.
I'm serious. If I'm wrong, I'm going to delete this video when it's uploaded.
Oh, there's enough witnesses, Cobra. You got to be good. Bud.
Dude, I'm going to call you on that every day.
I know you will.
I am that type of
I
asshole.
learned from the best, and my wife, she's the first one to pop up and remind me when I say something and I turn out to be wrong.
Cobra twerking is the main event for NMSCon.
Oh God, no. Well, I no. I hope the update's not out yet. Yeah. So a lot of places are actually starting to confirm that what was it? Best Buy is actually saying July 24th as well,
Yeah,
which is a
sent you-
Tuesday.
I sent you a tweet about that this morning.
Oh, was that you?
Yeah, that was me.
Are you Chris?
No, I'm TJ.
Oh, okay. Okay, I'm getting really confused here. Okay, so yeah, big shout out to you, dude. Who are you on Twitter?
TJ Boy. I just changed my front.
Oh,
name
your
to
name's
Stubborn Ninja.
okay. All right.
Yeah.
So yeah, Best Buy is actually confirming that it's going to be July 24th, same as GameStop, sorry. And then we got the June 29th rumor, which is a Friday. It's also not the end of the month. So none of those look like placeholder dates. So we could actually be looking at the upload or the update on June 29th and the release of the Xbox on July 24th, because it stated that the day that Xbox launches on day one, it'll come with Next.
Did anyone see the IGN article that confirmed that the actual date for NMS Next was like June the 24th? That made me so mad. They'd be like, Amazon Italy had put a placeholder date of June 24th. Every other Amazon Europe, USA were all saying July. GameStop people were saying like July 24th for Next on the Xbox. And then someone from IGN had been like, oh, there's one accidental placeholder date that's a month earlier. Going to clickbait the hell of this and say that we've confirmed it coming June earlier than anyone else. And I was just like, oh.
That actually makes me
every
cry a little
other
bit.
Amazon.
Yeah,
I think there's a
makes me
leak.
cry.
I think there's, a leak of 2 dates is what we have. I think one's an update and one's a release for the Xbox. I think that's why there's so much confusion as far as these companies thinking that they have the right date.
Well, see, the thing that gets me is if it's just the update date, there's no reason they're going to be telling Amazon retailers the update date, right? They're just going to be telling them the next date. So I just think the Amazon Italy placeholder had just got the wrong one. All the other Amazons had got a July date, and Amazon Italy had a June one. And,
I see.
And IGN, like, they knew that. There's no way IGN didn't see that date and be like, well, let's check every other date. They knew that it wasn't the actual date, but they were like, well, this is a month earlier than everyone else is saying. If we put this article out, it's going to get click on
I see
it.
what you're saying. Yep.
It was just made me mad.
IGN wouldn't do that. What are you talking about?
What
At least they're not
were... Go ahead, El.
I was just saying, at least they're not the no.
You're right.
Yeah.
I agree.
Do we know what day? Do we remember what days of the week Foundation, Pathfinder, and Atlas Rises were released? Because that might give us a clue.
Not off the top of my head.
I think I remember Foundation was a Sunday. It was either a Sunday or a Saturday, but it was on the weekend.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. Or was the announcement
remember.
on a weekend? I don't know.
The announcement was a Thursday, I think. It was Thanksgiving Day. It was announced.
Oh.
I think.
I thought it was a Friday. I remember it being a day I was working from home because I did my Atlas Rises video like in the middle of work at home.
I don't remember.
It was definitely a weekday. It was either Thursday or Friday. Yeah, it wasn't a weekend because I remember like sneakily taking a little break from work to record my video.
Yeah,
I
so
think
I
it was
don't
working.
know. I mean, I really, I know LPlays disagrees with me, but I think this is a dual reference. I think this is a reference to lore, and I think it's a reference to appearance, because appearance is used to make games, and they wanted us to make a game. That's the whole theme behind this, is making games other than the lore portion of this dual reference. I think it's a dual reference.
Well, the other thing, right, was like one of the things I've been thinking about the whole game submission thing is like, what's the end goal for that? What's the point? And a part of me was thinking like maybe a bit unrealistically, but I was thinking like maybe, you know, the top 5, maybe like the top 1, maybe they will pick one of those and like Hello Labs will help the people that came up with that idea try and even maybe build it or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I don't know, that might be a bit far-fetched, but I was thinking like if you're going to have all this effort and stuff going into people like coming up with these great ideas of using procedural generation, maybe that would make sense if at the end of it it's actually like, oh, by the way, you know, Hello Labs is going to work with you and try and sort of bring this to life, at least to some extent, even if it's just as like an indie game type thing, small thing. Well, that would be super cool for the people that entered and got through.
Yeah, that really
and
would be.
that would totally be a time where I could see them being like, oh, by the way, we've got apparence as like a cool bit of tech that we want to try out. Do you want to use that in this game?
Yeah.
I mean, as an IP, it's worth a ton of money.
Also, you know, Sam Swain, he's really like, he wants to make his own game with the parents. He's like, all over his website, he's got a plan for like a schedule about making his game. He's got right now. What is he parked at? Planning. Is that where he's parked at? Planning. Let's see. Plan. So March 2017, he said that his game idea or game progress, he was on ideas, and then on April to May 2017, he was on planning, and then the last update he gave, he was for his game, he says thinking. So I don't know.
The next one will be thinking about planning.
Oh, Sam, what are you doing there, buddy?
So someone asked him what he was working on with Hello Games, and he said the Xbox port as well. And I was just like, yeah, well, he's obviously not going to tell the whole truth if he's. So I remember someone commented on my video being like, I asked him on Twitter and he said he was working on the Xbox port, so this whole theory is dead. And I was like, well, no, he's just because he's doing one thing doesn't mean he's not doing other stuff. And he's not going to tell us, oh yeah, actually I'm working on procedural towns or dungeons or whatever.
I wonder if I email him and tell him I'm a WARE developer. See if he emails me back.
Actually, Hello Games is pretty good at returning email. When I reported a bug, I'd say about 4 months ago, I think it was to Earcom. Earcom got a hold of somebody. They sent me an email the same day, sent them the portion of the video, and within 2 days, they answered me back. And then I asked a question, because I am a developer. I said, did you guys try this? And they said, well, this is where the problem is. Man, it was nice to talk to a developer. They were.
Wow, he's been there for an entire year. It says June 2017.
Yeah, he's working on more than the port, for sure.
Yeah, I'm excited to say I've joined the amazing team at Hello Games. Exciting stuff. We're probably going to shut the show down. Otherwise, I got to get me some sleep, and I'm going to wake up and I'm going to try and put together a video. But yeah, so I guess the conclusion to today's stream is WARE. Who's that?
Oh boy.
Who's that?
That's a lot of feedback.
Sorry, I had to unmute. I was walking out to my truck. No, I was going to pick on Cobra a second. I can't believe you had Sean Murray on your show 2 nights or two broadcasts in a row, and you didn't ask him none of this stuff.
He's coming back. He's coming back.
All right, guys. Well, it was good being on the chat. I got to jump back to work. I've been trying to stay muted and where you don't hear all this background noise. But y'all have a great day. Good show, Cobra. Appreciate you letting me on. See
Okay, buddy. Take care, man. Thank you for coming on.
Thanks, man.
All right, bye, bro. All right, guys. I think we're going to go ahead and shut it down. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
One thing before we go. Guys, get this No Man's Sky Con. Let's get it big. Let's get it to where everyone's seeing it and everyone's talking about it. Let's get it to where the haters are even seeing and talking about it, and they'll show up at the con. But use the hashtag NMSCon18, and let's get this thing big. Just a little shout out to Cobra for putting this all together, because this is going to be awesome. I want to see if we can get 10,000 views on Cobra's stream.
Wow, no, I don't want those kind of numbers. No, that'd be too scary. And if it does get that higher, if it goes above 200, just don't even tell me. Don't tell me. No, I'll be normal. But yeah, on Tuesday we're going to go over a lot about Tuesday night subcast. We're going to talk a lot about the No Man's Sky Con, things we have planned so far. So I'm expecting the Atlas passes in the mail any day now. So I can't wait to see if they throw anything extra in there.
There's going to be a
But,
No Man's Sky press kit edition as well from me that I'm giving away for that. So
Oh yeah,
make sure you're all
yeah,
there,
we didn't
guys.
mention that. Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
They're so cool. There's like a letter in there from Sean. There's loads of pictures of the team, loads of like really cool artwork in there. It's just a beautiful little kit. So yeah, make sure you're all.
You got a video of that, right?
I have indeed. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, I'm gonna share that out. Yeah. So so 2 confirmed prizes: Atlas official level 4 Atlas passes and an actual press kit for No Man's Sky. And I've seen it. It's really cool. Really cool. I'm jealous. How'd you get it?
They're so like you can only find them secondhand, and everyone just charges so much money for them. It's just it's sad, but I had to get them. Couldn't resist.
Awesome. All right, guys. Guys, I had LPlays on the call here. Go check him out if you haven't already. I'm pretty sure you have LPlays on YouTube. Just say
I'm
something.
going to be dropping my video, my Waking Titan Theory video, in about 25 minutes as well. So make sure you go and tell me how crazy I am on that one.
We're all crazy, man. I think that that's not a surprise. But yeah, man, go check out LPlay's video here in a little bit. And if you're watching this later, it's already there. So go check it out. And I think that's going to do it. Do we have anybody else? Frag Ninja. Frag Ninja's got a YouTube channel. Shout out your channel, bud.
Oh, yeah. YouTube.com/c/Frag Ninja. And it's, yeah, you better be older before you come and watch.
All right, awesome. Very awesome, man. What kind of stuff you stream?
I've got my YouTube channel. I just dropped a video for where NMSCon will be held. I don't know if you saw that one, Cobra. Stubborn Ninja. I just changed it. Stubborn with a 5 for the S, and then Ninja with 1 for the I.
Gotcha. So, I seen the other one you uploaded. Did you upload a new one?
Yeah, I uploaded a new one for the convention center that I just built with everything.
Okay. I think I seen it. I think I tweeted it out.
I seen it. I seen that tweet. It was awesome. Good job, by the way. Like, absolutely excellent.
Yeah,
I was impressed.
Very impressed.
Yeah, definitely. All right. What about you, Dave? You got a YouTube channel?
No, I'm just a player, Cobra. I'm just a player. I do follow all you guys anyway. I'm subscribed to most of you anyway, but I do post screenshots and stuff on Facebook, but just look for me on Facebook, on the PS4 page and on your site as well, on your page.
Okay, awesome, dude. All right. Guys, thank you so much for coming out to the chat and listening to us crazy old men talking about crazy things. And, you know, I think I'm the one that went off the deep end the most with their parents. But, hey, whatever. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. All right, guys. Thank you for coming on.
Take care, guys.
Yep.
Catch you later.
Bud.
Don't forget to use hashtag NMSCon 18.
For sure, buddy. All right. Thank you, man.
Remember
Later,
to like
guys.
the video as well, guys.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Bye, everybody.
See ya.
You know about me and what I am, so let's get right to the point.